Hello, welcome to another Knowledge Odyssey book review. These book reviews are here to educate me and others by obtaining helpful knowledge and relating the information to our current lives. I hope you enjoyed this book review. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thank you. Today's review will be on the book Becoming Better Grownups, Rediscovering What Matters and Remembering How to Fly by Brad Montague, published in 2020. Brad Montague is the creator of a series named Kid President and the author of the New York Times bestseller Kid President's Guide to Being Awesome. He uses his experience from traveling around the world, meeting adults and kids in his life. Using their successes, advice, and experience, he created this book for all adults who need a little help flying once again. I enjoyed reading this book because of its simplicity and illustrations. This book helped me realize that adult books can be designed like children's books and still have significant meanings. This book is divided into 3 parts, the first part being First Flight, Forgetting, and The Great Remembering. Let's begin with part 1, The First Flight. In part 1, he starts with a short story about a floating baby that the dad cannot reach to grab because we as adults forget how to float. After the short story, he discusses that we as adults need to learn how to wake up and live in the present. He mentions that kids want their parents to live in the present. This means kids want their parents to show up and be there when it matters the most. They need their parents, so it is essential to be there. He explains that the difference between a child's brain and an adult's brain is that a child's brain is thinking of what is happening right now, while an adult's brain is thinking of everything but the present. Next, he explains that we must learn to have fun as grown-ups. We should not overwork ourselves until we are exhausted and unable to do things we want to do. He mentions that to be better grown-ups, we must engage with the world and not let it create chaos or a boring life. He tells us that children will identify with what they see us doing. Therefore, we don't want our children to think that we are grumpy, dull, or too busy to have fun. The author talks about how we must be willing to explore the different mechanisms of life. We need to be capable of doing so to help us further grow as grown-ups and share those thoughts and experiences with our children. As he puts it, we cannot be afraid or disregard exploring doubts, fears, or mysteries and wonders. We must identify, analyze, and share what we learn from them. He tells us that we need to discover our powers in this world. Not only this, but also acknowledge other people's powers. He mentions that we need people around us to help us grow. For example, it takes people's experiences in our life events to come up with a great story to share with the world. Without those experiences, the books we read would never make it to light. We all have a unique ability that we bring to the table in this world, and once we discover it and use it, we will be able to help others and lead to many other possibilities. He also speaks on how we must treat one another as irreplaceable, because it is true. We cannot replicate the same person, their thoughts, and their abilities, especially children that have special places in our hearts. We must cherish every moment they provide us, because life is too short to miss out on opportunities to show we care. He expresses that hope is who we are to children. Overall, we should apply this not only to our children, but to other people also. For children, taking a moment to accept gifts given and showcase them to everyone is a perfect way to show that you do care. In the adult world, we do this for people, celebrating their accomplishments and letting them know that they mean something to us because they provide us their skills to support us. In part 2, named Forgetting, he continues the short story presented in the beginning. This time, the child has grown up and realized that she has forgotten how to fly. She is then reminded that she used to be able to fly by looking at the birds in the sky. He starts this part by stating we were once children too. Do not be afraid to see things from a child's perspective. We forget to enjoy our lives and get stuck in adulthood. When did we forget how to enjoy our life for what it is? And when did we lose our joy? He suggests that we should sit and think back where we left it and go back and get it. Once we do this, we can enjoy the moments we share with our children just as much as they do. He then mentions that we should strive to provide what we needed when we were younger. We must continue to show that we can provide children with what we did not have growing up. This could be financial, relationship, or academic advice. It could be encouragement, or maybe lessons that need to be taught. Whatever the case may be, do not disregard the essential things in life. We might believe it does not matter, but to them it does. Next, he suggests that to become better grown-ups, we must be able to answer the following question. What do you love about what you do? This is an essential question because it brings self-awareness to your life. If you can confidently answer this question, you are doing great for yourself. However, if people have trouble answering this question, we must answer it. Why is it so hard for me to answer it? Or in other people's cases, why do I not enjoy what I do? And how can I change this to make my life better? He asks the audience what their impact will be on the world. Is what you are doing something that you believe will impact the world? In short, the answer should be yes, because everything you do affects someone else. However, he wants us to understand that to be a better grown-up, we need to have direction and know how we want to leave the world. Do we want to leave it better than we found it? If so, how are we going to do that? What is our skill set that we are going to provide to make sure that it happens? He tells us to keep doing what we do that makes us feel important, regardless of who sees it. No matter how little of an impact we see it make, or whether anyone sees it, continue to make it, because we never know whom it may come across to help. If you want to make a book, do not be discouraged because you don't believe no one will read it. Write it and send it off anyway. You never know. Even if it's just one person, that one person could be the next CEO because of your book. Next, he tells us that to grow, we must understand that it will take failures. Ultimately, we cannot succeed if all we have are successes. Even if it seems that way, I am sure it is because we have little failures or hiccups in between that allowed us to get from one point to another. There are going to be some minor and major hiccups. However, we usually tend to let those major ones affect our lives more than they should. Finally, we get into part 3, which is called The Great Remembering. He continues the short story with the daughter reaching an age old enough to have her child. He begins to float, and as he does, she remembers what it was like to float and fly. However, she still cannot manage to do it herself. She remembered the time she spent with her father as a child, and she decided to see him. When she saw him, she started to float just a little bit, and she had started to remember what it was like to be a child again. He discusses that eventually we will get older. However, we must become elder and not older. And he means that we should grow wiser when we get older. He tells us that we should become mentors for our younger generation. He states that children will be told that I am what you will be, meaning that they will eventually get older and accumulate a bunch of experiences and knowledge that will be shared in their time as we are doing for them. We should look at getting older as an opportunity to prepare the younger generation for what will come. He speaks on how we should have a childlike wonder every now and then, instead of always having a straightforward and adult-like mindset. He lists a couple things that we should do. They are listed as such. Instead of being childish, be childlike. Don't be selfish, but generous. Stop being entitled and be compassionate. Don't be fearful, be fascinated. Open up instead of being closed in. Be free and not frustrated. Be amazed and not angry. And lastly, become blissful and not busy. He also suggests that we should continue to sing our favorite songs. We all have songs that make us feel good and like to sing along to. We should not forget that we enjoy doing that every now and then. Even if we're stuck in traffic, we should play one of our favorite songs and start singing until the traffic's free. This is just as important as anything else we do to make us feel happy. Don't ever feel like you can't sing along with your favorite artist, and share it with others while you're at it. He talks about how we as humans are the ones who create our collective future. We are here to ensure that humanity exists. Everyone can make a difference in this world to ensure that society can last. He states that tiny nudges can make a difference, which means that the little things we do in our lives will impact the future of all of us. Lastly, he explains that we are all born to fly, and sometimes we forget about this. None of us were born to fly alone, and he encourages all of us to help each other learn how to fly and fly together. In the end, This book was a great reminder that we should all learn to live a little and get away from the adult life to enjoy our time on this earth. As a child, we fly until we understand the world a little more. Then we slowly forget what it means to enjoy life and how to fly. This book serves as a reminder to learn how to fly again. Each chapter gives us the tools to spark that childlike joy that we used to share with the world. We must discover this again and help others find the spark of happiness they've lost over the years of being an adult. Everyone should read this book because it has so much positivity in it. We all need to be reminded that it is okay to be childlike sometimes and experience the joys we once had before we had to learn how to grow up in this world. Do not be discouraged by anyone to not be yourself, and we must enjoy the moments that we can share with each other. Our time is precious, and we should live every moment to the fullest and show our greatest potential even in the darkest times. Thank you for listening to this book review. Give this book a read and tell me if you enjoyed reading it as much as I did. Be sure to listen to my other book reviews and please tell me what you think of those. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And remember to continue to educate yourself to educate others. Until next time.